Today, I'm Alessandra Munson. Today, we will discuss about a tourist guide and so on. A tourist guide is someone who shows others the way on a typical tour. Typically, a tourist guide will work in a specific city or province. In some cases, guides may be qualified to guide across an entire country. Tourist guides are frequently among the first to greet and last to say goodbye to visitors. Their job is to improve our visitors' experiences. A tourist guide is a person who specializes in specific locations and guides tourists in the language of their choice. Though you do not need the exact educational background of a specific faculty from a university, you must remember that you are a very responsible person to guide the tourists until the end of the tour. So at the very least, you must be knowledgeable about the specific industries and destinations that will provide experience.
Mabuhay! I'm Angel Vini Cabral and let's talk about tour guide and tourist guide. Let's begin! The word tour guide is commonly used or we commonly hear in the United States. But how about tourist guide? The term tourist guide is commonly used in the European continent, while I bet you guys are wondering what's their differences and its function. Well, when we say tour guide or tourist guide, we are referring to a person that provides information, assistance to traveler, whether it is natural, cultural, historical, or built-up attractions. But that definitely depends on the guide on how he could influence traveler to understand more about its particularly information in a certain destination. But as the World Federation Tourist Guide Association quoted, that we are well-known association of tourist guide, that we will be able to define tour guide or tourist guide, despite the fact that they are almost certainly the same and both doing same job and roles. The name are particularly interchangeable. This is because tour guide is when you go on a tour and there is someone leading the tour. It's your tour guide. Tour guides guarantees that itineraries are followed and travelers are informed about the location they are visiting. However, tourist guides suggest that the tour include foreign visitor, whereas a tour guide just take anyone on the tour, regardless of whether they are tourists or not. A tourist guide is generally term used for all tour guides and tour leaders. They perform the same functions, but they are known in different names due to its different tour style.
What is tourist guide according to World Federation of Tourist Guide Association? According to them, tourist guide is a person who guides visitors in the language of their choice and interprets the cultural and natural heritage of an area, which person normally possesses an area-specific qualifications, which is usually issued or recognized by the appropriate authority. They said that this is distinct from a tour manager. Just a heads up, a tour manager, tour director, or escort is a person who manages an itinerary on behalf of the tour operator, that ensuring the program is carried out as described in the tour operator's literature. And this is being sold to the traveler or consumer and gives local practical information. Just a heads up also that a tour manager may or may not be a tourist guide as well, because they are not trained or licensed to work in specific areas unless they have the proper requirements or legal right depending on the region.
Mabuhay! This is Kisha Ebon A. Cordero, and today I will be discussing DOT accreditation process for tourist guides. DOT is mandated to formulate and promulgate rules and regulations governing the operations and activities of all tourism enterprises, including but not limited to a national standard for licensing, accreditation, and classification of tourism enterprises, prescribing their minimum levels of operating quality standards. where areas under RA number 9553, tourism enterprises refers to facility services and attractions involved in tourism, such as tourist guide services. So next we have the classification of tour guides. DOT accredited tour guides shall be classified as follows. First, specialist tour guide refers to an individual who exhibits technical expertise and knowledge in a specific field of interest or activity. Second, regular regional tour guide refers to an entry-level regional tour guide who has met their minimum requirements for DOT accreditation, including passing the PTG, QualX, or an accredited tour guide prior to the implementation of this circular. Third, we have the Masteral Regional Tour Guides, refers to an regional tour guide who has rendered at least 10 consecutive years as DOT accredited. D, we have Community Tour Guide, refers to an individual who performs tour guiding within a particular set, attractions, and or specific activities in a community or local. E, we have the regular community tour guide, refers to a community tour guide who has met their minimum requirements for DOT accreditation. F, we have the Masteral Community Tour Guide, refers to a community tour guide who has rendered at least 2 consecutive accreditation periods as DOT accredited.
From Andrea Morales, I'm a full-time tour guide. Let me discuss how to be a tour guide by studying in TESDA and what skills will you enhance in this course. Let's start. Tour guide with the NC. How to become an NC2 holder. The NC2 qualification for local guiding services is made up of competencies that a person needs to attain in order to advise and guide tourists, as well as coordinate their schedule from the time of arrival through the time of departure at a certain destination. They perform the function of constant traveling companion for travelers and ensure that whatever is contracted by them is fulfilled. The tour operator in other countries is assigned according to the contract and the itinerary. The units of competency comprising this qualification includes the following. Training durations are 18 hours for the basic, 18 hours for the common, and 160 hours for the core. The course is designed to enhance the knowledge, skills, and attitude of an individual in the field of local guiding services, NC2, such as coordinating tour program, itinerary, guiding, and accompanying tourists in locality in accordance with the industry standards. It covers the basic, common, and core competencies. The Technical Education and Skills Authority, or TESDA, has launched its latest free service, a no tuition fee training, which will make it more accessible for Filipino citizens to develop their technical and vocational skills with the help of the internet.
Staff guide, they are the tour guide who works in a travel agency, and part of their job is to assist and provide the needs of the requests of the clients. Freelance guide, they are the tour guide who is not connected with travel agency and paid per trip. As a freelance guide, you are responsible for anything and everything that the tour entails. If you are going to work for yourself, you need to know the inner workings and just about every part of a tour. That means that you are the tour guide, the tour escort, the tour manager, and the operations manager. Also, a freelancer is hired for a specific project, service, or task by the client. A freelancer works on a variety of projects at the same time to the different clients.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. So now let's proceed to Museum Tour Guide. What is Museum Tour Guide? Museum Tour Guide is also known as docent or gallery guide. Some of us are not familiar of the word docent, so let me share it to you. According to Merriam-Webster, docent is a person who leads or guided tours, especially through a museum or art gallery. Some museums call them docent and some museums call them gallery guides. They are essentially pretty much the same thing. Visitors don't exactly know what to do when they are in front of a piece of art, especially if it's something that they've never seen before or have no idea what it is about. So that we have these docent or gallery guides. They pass an information and teaches the visitors of a particular museum or institution about specific collections, artifacts, the institution itself, and other relevant information. Here's an information typical efficient gallery guide.
Museum guides work to offer insightful information to museum guests by giving them background knowledge on exhibit, work of art, and artifacts. They must be knowledgeable enough to give an information about textile, period, whether it is original or duplicate, miniature paintings, terracotta work, sculptures, arms and weapon, furniture, coins, traditional dresses, turbans, carpet, and pagadi, or also known as headgear. Tour guide must have a data about collection and must be able to justify their statements. Before taking a tour group to the museum, tour guide must know why people visit museum. Why? It is because for them to be able to ready their answer for the possible questions. Therefore, the tour guide must also have good oratorship and sense of timing, as museum timings are limited and important. Conducting museum tours in approximately 1 to 1.5 hours in length. Be comfortable speaking to small and large groups of people of all ages. Aside from that, you should be aware of your voice. It should be in a low tone but loud enough to hear your voice, because some of the museums are sacred and some of the museums don't want to bother other guests.
Magandang buhay, tourists! On behalf of Travel and Tour, I am Katrina Centeno, or you can call me Ate Kat, your step-on guide for today. Okay, let me tell you a few reminders. Number 1 is put your trash in trash bin. Number 2, never leave your things unattended to avoid unnecessary loss. Okay, number 3 is please remain seated until we came to a full stop. And number 4, do not forget our bus number, which is bus number 2. And before we proceed, let's make a head count. 1, 2, 3, 60. Thank you very much. A step-on guides is a tour guide that's hired to join a tour group, their bus, motor coach, and give the tour. Many of our tour guides are willing to also be in step guides.
Hello everyone, I am Maria Michaela Sovet S. Longi, so I will discuss about types of tourist guide. Adventure guide. Adventure guides lead guests on excursions that may be otherwise unavailable to them. River guides, sometimes known as raft guides, direct parties of people through river rapids and other water obstacles. Guides are often in charge of outfitting guests, putting up essential camping, accommodations, and preparing meals for trips that can last anywhere from a few hours to many weeks. Climbing guides. Like raft guides, climbing guides often provide their guests with equipment to climb safely in an area. Hiking guides. Hiking guides may lead hikers or backpackers on short day trips or no longer mountaineering expeditions. For some hikes, peaks are inaccessible without a professional or guide. Snowmobile guides. Snowmobile guides can provide snowmobile and access to snowmobiling locations to groups or guests. Trail riding guides. Horseback riding is a popular activity for tourists visiting a new area and locals looking for an adventure. Trail riding guides often lead horses and riders along routes and share interesting facts about the wildlife, geography, and plants. Fishing guides. Fishing guides may lead outings to help tourists access difficult to reach fishing destinations. And lastly, ATV guides. An all-terrain vehicle ATV guide may lead or dry guests along tracks and roads in jeeps, four-wheelers, or side-by-side ATV.
Another type of tour guide is a special interest guide, which means guiding tourists to a special place such as museums, national parks, recreational places, or festivals. They are responsible to answer your questions and help to have an in-depth look at these sites.